All right, everyone, so we are at our dealership, right? We're on day 3 and we're learning how to properly service a dealership. What are the steps that we take to service a dealership? One of the most important things, and I know it may seem minuscule, but where do you park when you get to a dealership? That's always a question. Well, you want to make sure you could park where employees park, so you're out the way, because once you're there at the dealership, you're considered an employee slash vendor. So don't park in customer parking, just park out of the way. Second, you want to make sure that you park in an area where it is convenient for you to either pull your printer out or grab your extension cord. So when time to print, you're already setting yourself up for success, just to be convenient for yourself, right? So if you have a photo booth or somewhere by a detail area or anything like that where you can print and be out of the way. The goal is to be out of the way. We're not in anyone's way, any of the dealership's employees' ways once we have to print, right? Or where your vehicle is. So those are just small little key notes. Once you get to your route specific training, that trainer will show you exactly where you're going to plug up and print and where to park and whatnot. But just wanted to mention that because it is important. So how do we know what vehicles we need to do once we get to a dealership? There are settings on your app where you can filter vehicle photos. So you're going to pull up a 0 to 0 list. That no photo list are the cars that you will be looking for that day. And there are two different lists. There's a used car list and there's a new car list. So just with me, 2 seconds, look around at all the vehicles that are in this area, and that's why it's important for you to pull up that list, because you're going to be confused looking at all these vehicles, having to know which ones have been done already and which ones are still yet to be done. So, welcome back. Now that we're going to work on used cars first, right? So Chris, once you get to a dealership, doesn't matter what you're doing, whatever the dealership is, majority of our dealers we service used and new. But once you get to the dealer, the first thing you want to do is work on used cars. Why used cars? Because used cars are super important. 99.9% of the times we have this customer because they wanted pictures on their used cars, not on their new cars. The new cars come after. New cars are very important to us, super important. So I don't want to downplay that, but I want to emphasize that used cars are always priority. We get those done first, then we hop on new cars. So let's start with our used cars. First things first, at this dealership, we don't do pre-detail photos. So what does that mean? Well, pre-detail photos, we would be searching for those cars first. Those cars are going to be in service. Those cars are going to be in detail. They may be parked in a holding area. But this dealership, we only do frontline retail-ready cars. Acronym for that, FLRR, right? That's what we use, the abbreviation, sorry. Not acronym. So we're going to walk the used cars, all of them, starting with the first used car. I've already identified this is where the used cars are, and this is where the first vehicle is. From here, we're going to wrap around and walk the entire used car line. And what are we looking for? Well, first, we're looking to make sure that the vehicle has a window sticker and a buyer's guide. That's going to indicate to us that the rep has done their job properly and that vehicle is fully processed. So as I'm walking, you may notice me walking faster and faster. It's because once you know what you're looking for, it really doesn't take you that long to identify which vehicles you have to do. And what I'm looking for is a car that is missing the window sticker and buyer's guide. At that point, it's going to prompt me to dive into my app using the last 5 digits of the VIN number to look into my app to see if that vehicle has photos or not. And that's how I know what vehicles I'm going to have to process on this front line or not. Are you going to get all the vehicles that's on the list? Probably not. So at the end of this, you're going to pull up that 0 to 0 no photo list I'm talking about. We call it an NPL, or vehicles that are in service. Or you're going to go to the manager and let him know, hey, whatever the manager's name is, hey John, I was able to process 9 vehicles. Seems to still have 20 on your list, but these vehicles are not on your front line. I wanted to make you aware of it. Would you mind signing here acknowledging that? Or can you let me know where these vehicles are? I'm more than happy to get them done for you. All right, so now we're ready to walk the front line. Chris, we're trying to identify, it has both window sticker and buyer's guide. What do I mean by window sticker, buyer's guide? Let's get a close-up. This is a window sticker. Window sticker has normally the dealership's name and it'll have the vehicle information on it. What do I mean by our buyer's guide? Let's walk around the other side. And the reason I chose this vehicle to do that, because these windows are small. So what you'll notice is this is how the window sticker and buyer's guide should look on a vehicle. They are super nice and uniform, very little spacing in between. They're aligned properly. But then you notice this vehicle has one sticker on one side, another sticker on the other. Well, that's inconsistent. No, it's not, because this window is smaller, so it doesn't allow enough room to put both stickers side by side. So we do one on that side and one on this side. Normally, the window sticker goes on the driver's side, buyer's guide would go on the passenger side. So this is a buyer's guide. Basically, a buyer's guide is the warranty information on a vehicle. So these two vehicles are good. Let's continue walking the rest of them. Chris, let me know if I miss any. Here's a vehicle that does not have any at all. So I'm gonna pull up my app using the last 5 of the VIN, 94789. And this has to do with whatever app you're training on. I will throw that in there since we use 2 different platforms, whether it's LotSync or Digital Lot, same exact thing. You wanna use the same last 5 of the VIN, let you know if it has pictures. This does have pictures, and the rep is here today. And since these pictures are live, as the rep takes them, they also upload to our system and automatically download to everyone's phone. So everyone who has this dealership in their phone, they're gonna be able to see those pictures. I can see what the other person's doing and vice versa. So I can see that the pictures are uploading. I say that because there's 5 here right now, and we normally take 30 plus pictures. So I'm gonna wait for these pictures to download. I'm not gonna write this down. If it was a vehicle that I had to do, I would write down the stock number, I'd write down the year and the model. Why stock number, year, and model? Because once we go inside after making our list, you're gonna need your stock number to find the key in the key machine. And if the stock number is incorrect, you could use the year and the model of the vehicle to also search for it in the key machine. So that's why we write down those 3 things. We can continue going. This one's good, that one's good. Let's continue going. The way that these vehicles are parked and the way that the window stickers are placed, it's gonna make it a really quick walk, because we're walking from driver's side to passenger side. This is gonna make it really easy. So this process, once you know what you're looking for and how to identify it, it really shouldn't take you that long. This is a very easy dealer to work, in the sense of we only do frontline ready cars. I do want to point something out. Really quick. We have a window that could have put the window sticker and the buyer's guide on both sides, but we didn't. So that's something that would have to be replaced. In addition to that, the window sticker's on the wrong side and the buyer's guide was on the wrong side, pending it was a small window and we couldn't fit both on one side, right? So that is something, as we're also walking the lot, maybe the rep was off, maybe we had someone cover and that person wasn't sure. That goes back to a training issue, I will throw that in, but maybe the person decided to do their own thing, they weren't paying attention. That's the route I'm gonna go with right now. But we wanna make sure that we make note of this vehicle. So stock number, year, and model. And next to it, I'm gonna write a note for myself, reprint window labels, right? Because we should live in a zone of get it done right the first time, and we shouldn't leave anything behind for anyone else to do. Because what I'm about to do right now is free work, not only for the dealer, free work also for me. As a rep that's on commission, free work is not something I want to hear. So that is something that you want to make sure you're doing it right the first time. You're not leaving anything for anyone else, because you wouldn't want them to leave it for you to do free work. So far, so good. We're going to keep walking. If there's anything that I've said so far that you're going to notice on a vehicle, let me know if I missed it, and we'll write it down. No, we're looking good. But I'm already over here because I've already scanned it, right? Like, again, this process doesn't take that long as you know what you're looking for. We place the window labels on buyer's guides, on the driver's side rear of the vehicle. So that's literally all you're looking for. And then there are some vehicles that it's on the wrong side, and you just make note of those. Here's another one. It's missing window sticker and buyer's guide. 884, 895. I just used the last 6 of the VIN just now. What is something wrong with using the last 6 or the last 5? I like the last 5, and it has never ever proven me wrong in 15 years. The reason I don't use 4 is because if the dealership has a large inventory and use the last 4, it could pull up multiple vehicles. And if you don't pay attention, you could choose the wrong vehicle. Last 5, you'll never get a duplicate vehicle. Last 6, you surely won't. And as you go up, you know, it just gets better and better. But last 5 is where you want to use. If you use 6, it's fine. Just definitely don't use 4. And the reason that we don't use stock numbers is because stock numbers are handwritten, right? And handwritten, we know that people can make errors all the time. But using the last 5 of the VIN, you could never go wrong. So this does have a full set of photos, which means that the person processed it today. I have seen her on the lot. She's putting up window labels right now, so we're just going to continue going because she's doing an awesome job. These Range Rovers here. So far, so good. We're just about done. Want to make note of this one as well. So we process addendums for dealerships, and at this dealer we do. Now the addendum is falling. This is a representation of us, our work, our quality. So we want to make sure that we are representing great quality. For example, if I put it to you in a different way, would you walk out the house in the morning if you had a lot of hair and not do anything with your hair? Would you walk out the house and not brush your teeth, not take a shower, not get dressed well, put your shirt on backwards? You wouldn't do any of those things. This is how I feel when I see stuff like this, is that we are not taking pride in our work. So we have to take pride in our work. So I'm going to write this stock number down because we're going to pull this key and we're going to adjust that addendum because that is our work. So bear with me as I write down this VIN or stock number. And as I wrote down the stock number, right next to it, I'm gonna write get key fix addendum. And being this detailed with your notes is gonna help you as you try to figure out how to maneuver yourself through the lot, because the goal is to get the dealership serviced properly, efficiently, effectively, and move on to your next store. Here's a dealership, here's a vehicle that's missing an addendum. So I'm gonna write down the stock number and write down reprint addendum. On to our next. Another one missing. So I'm gonna do the same. Stock number, reprint. Let's keep it moving. So this is the end of this line. That is service vehicles. How can I tell it's service vehicles? They have a service tag hanging from the center mirror. And you see the plastics on the driver's side seats. It's another indicator. So that's something you'll learn as you go along. But there are 3 used vehicles left here because the rest of them are new vehicles. And we are good. Now, how can you tell the difference between a used and a new vehicle? Other than the dealership parks them in separate areas, right? They do separate them. But one of the key indicators of a new vehicle, the manufacturer's window sticker. It's normally rectangular in shape like this. They look almost identical, but that's one of the easiest ways to identify a new from a used. Normally these stickers are on the vehicles. If not, then they're on the dash. If they're not on the dash, then it's probably laminated inside and it's sitting inside of the car. And again, they do park the vehicles, all the new vehicles together, so you can identify them. But just that's the main question that comes about for someone who's not in automotive, and it's their first time getting into automotive. All the vehicles kind of look alike. They're just all cars. So how can I differentiate a used from a used from a new? This is one of the ways right here. We're gonna go inside. I'm gonna introduce you guys to the key machine. There are different types of key machines. So I'll explain the key machine that's inside this dealership, and we'll grab our keys. All right, everyone, so we have our list of our vehicles that we need to fix. Unfortunately, there were no vehicles, or I should say fortunately, everything out there had photos. There's nothing that didn't have photos. So everything that's gonna be on our no photo list is not ready for photos. So that's something we're gonna have to bring to management when we're done. But we are gonna pull these because all 4 of them need fixing on their window stickers. So here is my most favorite key machine, the keeper system. Why do I like the keeper system? Not that I really have a choice in the matter, I have to use whatever the dealership has, but the keeper system is really user-friendly. So Chris, every dealer is gonna give us a passcode for here. This is set up on day 1. You don't have to figure out your own passcode. So our passcode, punch it in, log in, and the keeper system, here's the 3 options that you're gonna see with the access that's been given to us. What we wanna do is we're gonna go to checkout, filter assets, and I like filter assets because it gives us many different ways that we can look up this vehicle. So I'm gonna type in the first one, T00887 add, cannot be found. Here is a really good reason that you need to write down the year and the model, because what I was explaining outside, here's a real life example of what happens, and that happens every day to us. So I'm gonna type in the year, 2016, type year, there's 11 assets. Well, it's a Lexus. I'm gonna type in Lexus, hit make, there's 1, review, RS300 I have written down, RS300, there's our vehicle. We had 1 digit different from what's in the system. Again, it takes a person to enter these stock numbers in the system, so there's no telling if ours is correct or the key machine one is correct at the moment. So we're gonna highlight that, click on move. Sometimes the dealer adds an option here for photo, continue, and checkout. The door opens. The one that we chose, or multiple, blinks. We turn to the left, anti-clockwise, and it comes right on out, and we have our key. So we're gonna repeat this process, right? If the vehicle comes up in the system, all we have to do is select it. But if it gives us issues, then we have to do that same exact system I just did on repeat until we get all of our cars. So we're gonna go through that again.